Alright you guys, so welcome back to version 2, version 3 of this car. I don't even know. We're doing another engine swap. It's going to be cool. I'm really excited. Thanks for clicking on the video. So what I'm doing here is just starting by getting rid of all the accessories. The intake airbox here. You saw me draining all the fluids firstly. But then I go ahead and pull the radiator. We go ahead and do the exhaust manifold. And I'm just essentially getting everything out of the way so that I can start seeing what I need to work with here. Unplugging the wiring harness now is really simple as far as the engine goes. I'm really used to it, and if you want to see a more detailed breakdown of all this, check out my older video. I have kind of a step-by-step of exactly what to unplug and everything. But if you're familiar with this channel, you've been here for a while. So here's just a drawer of what I'm keeping all my parts in. I like to try to keep everything organized. So that top drawer had some smaller bits. This bigger drawer here has got the engine wire harness. And I've just got other bits throughout that whole tool cart. Sorry if this episode feels like it's jumping around. That's because it is. I'm a dad, as some of you may know, so I don't just spend hours and hours and hours out in the garage anymore. I go ahead and work on it for an hour at a time or so and, put in the work I can. And I actually really enjoy working on the car that way. It doesn't feel so exhausting. So what you're seeing here is me just continuing on. I'm dropping down the shift linkage and everything here. And we got some really cool new bits for the shifter from K-Tuned that you'll see here in a second. So here we go, the K-Tuned. Big shout out to those guys. They sent Travis and I some new shifters for our cars. That was really, really cool of them. So I can't wait to install this piece, man. It looks beautiful. It's going to look great in the car. So here I am getting back to getting this axle nut off and going ahead and finishing up getting the suspension out of the way so that I can take these axles out. So here I'm just continuing on with the other side, just getting this driver's side axle out. Those things can be a pain, but if you pry them just right, they come out relatively easy. Okay, so here's where I'm at. This is where I left off the other night. All the wiring harness is off, everything is out. Pretty much just got to unbolt the engine and that's good to come out. So what I'm going to do is like I did before. I'm going to be lowering this thing from the front, pretty much putting the engine on the ground and then raise the car up over it. So to do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and take off the brake caliper, and then I'm going to remove the rotor just to get that out of the way so that it's not going to touch the ground when I lower this thing down. I'm also going to be taking out the front suspension on both sides, just so this whole independent system here can move freely and let the car sit all the way down. So what I like to do here is actually not remove the brake system entirely. I just move that caliper up and out of the way. What I said there is, I'm going to be lowering the car on the ground. So I essentially just want to get these brake discs out of the way. And I'm also getting the suspension out so that the car can sit down on the ground fully. Y'all remember these guys, my nice BC Racing coilovers. Super happy with them so far. Can't wait to actually turn some more laps. Alright, and I did the same thing to this side. Brake caliper is up. Everything is undone. Just going to be undoing the coilover on this side. But for right now, taking the disc off. Okay, now the coilover. Alright, so here we go. Got both suspensions out. Here's the brake pads. We got the lug nuts there. Everything is out that I want to be cleared out of the way. Brake calipers are hanging up on both sides. Everything is clear. It's going to allow me to drop the car down onto the floor. Up by the radiator bracket there. I know some people hate the hell out of that, but it works just fine. I've done it multiple times now and nothing is bent. So that's the jack stand that I'll be opening up and we'll check it out. Getting rid of this rear mount here. I'm obviously reusing the bracket, but I have some nice new mounts coming. I'll be telling you all about that here soon. So this is what I'm looking like, you guys. Literally everything is off, ready to come down. Transmission mounts in the front is gone. Never had the one on the side there. Just took the back mounts off. You can see back there, big hole there. Everything is taken off. This thing is ready to just come down on the ground. I'm gonna unbolt the transmission mount there, and then I'm gonna unbolt the driver's side mount too. And then this thing is on the ground. You know, all those guys who want to be seriously low and run the most extreme camber? Yeah, well, beat this. I'm low. No wheels. All right, so I know a lot of you probably hate this because I'm on the radiator support, but look, it holds it just fine. I've done this a few times. Nothing is bending. It's just fine. So you see the engine still has a little bit of a ways to go there. What I think I'm going to do is just slowly let these bolts out, and then it will just touch it on the floor. I think it's going to be just fine. If I feel that it's not going well enough, I'm going to use some of those bricks there, and I'll support it underneath. So there you go. I just put one underneath the trans, and then we'll let the block fall to the floor. It's barely going to fall, you know. I'm going to take its time. So here we are again. But check it out, guys. Got this thing out. Very cool, man. And that's really easy. Like, it was awesome using that floor jack. It was really easy. I did it by myself, you saw. So what I think I'm going to do here is just go ahead and separate the trans from this long block, just for storage purposes, for my own sake. This block here is just going to be sitting down there for now. And the trans I'll just have up here somewhere. And then I'm going to tell you about this guy. All right, you guys, so this is my new jams right here. D16A non-VTEC. Now let me address that elephant in the room here first. Why did I go with non-VTEC? Well, first off, the VTEC engines are really hard to find, especially with D-Series. And when you do find them, like a D15B or something like that, they want like $1,000 for it. That's a lot of money for a D-Series. The reason I like sticking with this kind of stuff is because they have been easier to find. They've been cheaper than other options. This still is in that ballpark where this guy was cheap enough to where it's like, you know, sure, why not? And it's available. The D16A and the D15B non-VTECs, you can find them really anywhere still. So the power, a VTEC engine, you know what, is 128 horsepower? Well, H Motors online has this rated at 122. And no, I didn't buy this from H Motors, but I'm just using that as a reference because everyone knows H Motors. 122 horsepower out of a non-VTEC engine, that's pretty good, man. So I'm down 6 horsepower from my Y8. Whoop-de-doo. You know, my fun level is not gonna go through the roof with 6 horsepower. So I'm really excited about this. So I did get this from a low mileage importer though. It was a local shop to me. And I know this thing doesn't necessarily look like the cleanest on the outside. Like once you see Travis's, you'll see like his actually looks really good on the outside. This thing has some surface rust here just on this plate, but you know, a little bit on the distributor here. It looks a little gross, but you know, these are things that I'm not using. This thing's gonna come off. This exhaust manifold, that's coming off. The distributor, I'm not gonna be using. This is OBD2. This engine right here is from 2000. So the power steering pulley, all that stuff, all that's gonna come off. This valve cover, I'm gonna take off and I'm gonna paint it up. I'm gonna make it nice and black like this guy is. I like that look. And then I can take a wire brush to the block and go ahead and use some purple power and, you know, try to clean this thing up as best I can. But take a look at this, you guys. Underneath this valve cover right here is now why I believe in the low mileage importers. Check that out, dude. That is clean. They claim these engines have 45 to 65,000 miles on them. And yeah, I think I tend to believe that. Look at how clean this thing is. That is, at least, if nothing else, really well serviced. Plus, this thing came off of an automatic, so you know it's never been over-revved or anything like that. So that to me is a really good-looking engine. I mean, come on, man. Underneath that valve cover, that is good. If y'all remember back to my Y8, when I pulled that valve cover off initially, dude, that thing was black. Like, it was so dark. You couldn't tell little details of the valve train. Like, holy crap, man. This is night and day difference from what I had in that Y8. So I'm really excited about this engine. I realize a lot of you probably are like, oh god, a D series and it's non-VTEC. Okay, man, you know, if you don't like it, sorry. This is what I'm doing. I'm really excited with it. But first, what I'm going to be doing is going ahead and dressing that bay again. It looks a hell of a lot better than when I first bought the car, but I definitely want to go back through it and paint it up again. So I'm really excited, got some new goodies coming. These old mounts right here are finally going. I took that one off already. That guy right there, those are finally going. I got some really nice new ones from Hassport coming. Really excited about those. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to take this tray out of here finally. That axle blowing up there, I'm gonna get rid of all that. And then all this dirt that's just collected, I'm going to go ahead and sand this thing up and spray it up nice and beautiful frost white again. And I'm just going to try to make it look nice. Yeah, I like taking pride in that kind of stuff. So that's what we'll be trying to do next. Talk to you all on the next one.